Hi, Warren Whitlock here, and this is Emerging Technologies, a podcast where we talk about emerging technologies such as blockchain, AI, nanotechnology, robots, augmented reality, and virtual reality. I'm trying to not use the acronyms because I want to make sure this can be listened to by everybody. I've got some thoughts. I've been doing technology related things as long as I can remember, and I have a very long memory and a long life. So I quite often introduce myself to people that's been online since before you were born. If you're older than me, that's okay too. But I've been there, done that with a lot of things. The one thing I've learned is the quicker we are to adapt technology, the easier it is to make progress in just about anything you do in life, whether that's in your health, in your relationships, in your ease of doing your work, or getting something else to do the work for you. I find that a lot of people ask me whether or not their job's going to go away. What are they going to do? And I say, I hate to tell you the truth, your job's not going to be the same as it is today 5 years from now. Everything is changing rapidly, and the change keeps coming faster and faster. I have chosen to embrace that, and I suggest that's the way to go. If you're not running as fast as you can, you're going to even be more feeling like you're left out and not understanding anything. And so at all times, I'm trying to stay on the bleeding edge of things myself. I try things, and a lot of the stuff doesn't work. And there's a whole lot of things I've done a half-hearted attempt to get into it and then not been able to do very well. But that being said, a few of them that I have caught on and done right, been ahead of the pack. It's been very easy to see it coming, have it make my life easier. And today I spend a lot of my time explaining how those things work to other people. And some of the most interesting things is if I'm advising a startup today that is bringing out a big breakthrough in technology, I'm finding out that a lot of things stay the same. So if you feel like you're too old for this, let me tell you, it's we all do. And the answer is your knowledge, your wisdom is more powerful today than ever before, no matter what your specialty is. Mine happens to be emerging technology, but whatever it is you're doing, this technology can help you too. So let's talk about a few of the jobs that are coming as we look for new frontiers. Let's start in healthcare. There's going to be more telemedicine and more biotechnology, the ability to take a drop of blood and find out whether or not somebody has cancer before it's any of the typical stage one, two, three, four of cancer, and before there's any kind of symptom or any kind of thing that could do damage. We know that every body gets cancer. Its cells not quite reproducing. There's ways to find the markers of that happening and cure them before it's ever anything that bothers anybody. And in fact, our bodies actually do attack cells that aren't right, kill them off, and remove them. That what we call cancer is just that getting carried away and the body not handling. Hey, if nothing else, we could be meditating better to make sure to be a person that never gets cancer. I'm not here to tell you how to do that part, but the other part is something you can do that, which is apply these technologies that are coming out, which that suddenly, as everybody uses them, drops in cost. Mapping a genome used to be something that was billions of dollars, and they got it done. Here it is, 25 years later. That cost keeps going down, down to where we're now. I think for the last couple of years, we've been saying it's getting in the $100 range, and pretty soon it'll get to the range where it's just something that happens, like checking for your blood type. And you can get the entire genome and find out what is going on inside the cells in your body just from what they can get out of one cell of your body. There's going to be exciting times for people that know how to do that kind of stuff. But more importantly, it's just taking better care of people. Most of healthcare has been trying to fix the sick people. You go to the doctor when you don't feel well. You go to the doctor when you break something. Now it's going to be we want to live a healthier, long life. There's going to be things you can do and get taken care of that won't be major surgery or radiation or that years of pain with something. It'll be something that you find out about, take care of. And what I say, how long do you want to live if you could live at the healthiest adult body you've ever had? The advancement seems that it's going to be possible, and the time you're going to have to be able to do things that are going to be great. The work will not be strenuous. We're not talking about digging ditches without a shovel. There was a time when somebody tried to dig and didn't have a shovel. That was a common thing. And then they had a shovel. That was revolutionary. And then they had a crane and a robot. At some point, so a lot of that kind of work is just going to be done for us. But the ideas of what you want built where will always be there. There's always something else to do. And the biggest one in healthcare is the human touch. All studies show somebody gets better faster when they got the idea of a doctor caring enough to spend time with them and actually physical touch, touching your elbow, taking your temperature, feeling your forehead for the temperature, holding a stethoscope up to hear you breathe. Those things have more psychological or spiritual kind of effect on how you heal. It's not a matter of what happens or how it happens, it's just the fact that it does. And on average, people heal better when they feel they got a relationship with the doctor. And I know from my experience, if I don't get 10 minutes to get to know a doctor at some point, he's not somebody I feel like I even remember his name. I've been through lots of tests, lots of procedures, lots of going places. The insurance changes who the specialist is, whatever. And over the years, I can't tell you the names of most of my doctors. I can for a couple who took the time to get to know me, talk to me. And actually, I think that there are subjects that I know about at this point in life that I've helped the doctor understand something they didn't know, not about medicine, but about life. And the more we get to meet people and spend time with them, the better. Examples for everybody. More and more work on healthcare. Next one's renewable energy. We need a whole lot more energy. In the news recently has been nuclear power and the big tech companies buying more power or investing in nuclear plants. And I think it's fantastic because nuclear is something that is carbon free and is immensely full of energy, good for us. Obviously, we don't want to let anything happen like a nuclear power plant melting down, but that's not going to happen. We're going to get it's so far killed less people than any other form of energy production. It's just a great thing. And not just the old big nuclear plant serving the smaller ones that are contained, they're built in such a way. First sign of trouble, they shut down before anything could cause any kind of trouble. The modern grid and the electrical systems in our homes and cars and everything we do are built in better ways. So we get a whole lot less problems with them and they self-diagnose and repair and tell us what to do to make sure that they stay good. And of course, in the future, there'll be more of that. But there's a whole lot of things to change. And all these things, an overview is the jobs that are definitely going to come is just the services and products we've been providing to the half of the world that hasn't had them. And as we expand all that, there's challenges. Will creating more power cause more problems? Maybe if you keep trying to produce it with windmills and solar panel. I'm a big believer in both. I love what they do. Solar, especially. I live in a desert. I see no reason that we don't have every rooftop covered with the electrical panels. Just make everything. Why aren't my streets and the walls that get a lot of sun covered with that? I think there's enough sun in Nevada to power the entire world and have energy left over. And we should be exporting energy. There are huge, I believe powering my house is a huge solar plant that where they melt salt, molten salt in a tower and mirrors from 5 square miles are pointed at a few towers and those towers heat up and that heat is used to, like, it can be stored easier as molten salt Don't ask me how. But and then used to boil water, make steam, and create power. Which is that more natural than nuclear? I don't think so. Nuclear, they're able to find the atoms that have immense power. Think of an atom, it's mostly space. It has the electrons, are energy. Where does the crossover between energy and matter? I think from what I've been reading, there's a good chance that we don't really know if we get into particle physics. And of course, we have advanced ways to learn that, to study that, and to actually use it. So there are so many things going up. Just some basic service type jobs are becoming more valuable and more needed than ever, whether that's waiting tables or taking care of sick people in a hospital or a home, or being able to go to somebody's house who doesn't have contact with people. Because number one problem that we've never been able to just address easily is taking care of lonely people. Some people are around a lot of people and feel very lonely. And that's at the heart of a lot of the other problems that they have, whether that's a health problem, mental health, or just not being able to get ahead in some things, is that they feel like they're up against all this by themselves. Boy, if you feel like that at all and you're listening to me speak, let me know that I want to be one of your friends. We have virtual friends, yes. Can't be the same as coming and holding your hand when you're lonely, but there are people that will do that too. That do it out of their compassion of wanting to give, because they learned the one big thing that all this technology is not going to give it: the power of a human to give of themselves to another, to be in the moment with another person. And all of the technology that we talk about, all of these emerging technologies lead to that. Yeah, switching over, whether we're getting rid of coal completely or finding a better way to make coal work so it doesn't pollute, I think that's feasible. Or, and the same with oil, where it's going to be around for a long time. We have to do something about that. But as we convert out of that, to either make it better or convert out of it, we're going to have all sorts of need for people to figure out and do the right things. Cybersecurity is another one. Right now, if I don't think anybody would want to let an AI run amok and decide what it wants to do, because it might decide whatever goal you give it becomes its primary purpose, and people get in the way. And we certainly don't want that. But even more is that all of this technology is being used for good. Let's expect abundance in the future, and things are going to get better along the way. Just like any tool that you get, a knife makes it possible to cook and construct things as a tool. It's just wonderful. But a knife in the hand of somebody who wants to harm you is a bad thing. And that's true of all technology. Right now, there are lots of people who are working to clone the voice of your grandchild, have it call you, and tell you that it's in jail and that he's in jail and needs some money immediately, and it's cat. And there will be a telltale sign of that when you apply some common sense and you go, yeah, my grandson could get in trouble, but boy, he wouldn't be telling me to take cash in a brown paper bag and give it to somebody. So there's fortunately a lot of the things, but some of the things then get smart enough to say, all we need is your acceptance. Will you look into the camera here, and it's feeding into using that camera to get into your bank account. There are so many people working on that. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry now, and they are looking for more people to work with them and do what they do. Thank goodness they're here. I love knowing that is being addressed and that it's mostly something I don't have to worry about. But I'm really glad. So there will be cybersecurity analysts. How about an ethical hacker? Spend your time trying to find the flaws in the system and then patch them before anybody exploits them. And a data protection officer, that's a job I wrote down. Wow, yeah, I want my data to be secure. Cryptology can help a lot, but actually the number one way that people lose things in any kind of a hacker attack involves 90% of them involve a human giving up a password that they shouldn't, because they believe the sob story about a grandchild in jail, all the way to the writing your password and on a post-it note and sticking it in your monitor, and the bad guy comes in and gets your password and able to do things. They don't have to do that much work to get it. People easily give up things. Please, if you want to ask me a question, I do not need your password or your private keys or anything if I was going to help you. One, unless you're paying me, I'm probably not going to be working on your technology challenge. And it wouldn't be something like security or moving money or anything like that. But if I wanted to help you set up your monitor correctly, I don't need your password. Nobody does. You call a bank, you don't need to read off your PIN code. There's security in place for a reason. 90% of the attacks are humans. Sorry, that's a side public service announcement on my topic of cybersecurity. There are still way too many that use PASWORD as their password. And don't. They leave it on the default password. Don't. Take some security yourself. But when you're not able to, or if you're really good at this, there are people that need help. And that's going to be plenty of jobs in there. Of course, implementing all the AI, I think we talk about that just so much. More so is the fintech, understanding how some of this stuff works. One of the things that troubles me is that Wall Street and the finance industry have scooped up the very brightest people to invent systems to stay ahead of us all. How much better would the world be if those great, smart, highly educated people were in careers that weren't about keeping my money from me? And so there's been lots of good jobs. I still feel like if you went to college and you took a graduate degree and focus on finance but had a technical coding type background, you probably still can get great jobs doing that. Those are changing because that technology is becoming available to all of us, but there will be the need for specialists. There's still a lot of things go on where somebody's got control of your money, you don't know what's going on, and having people to explain that would be great. Having people to build things to help you do better with that, so that your nest egg stays your nest egg and not somebody else's. And plenty of work growing financial technologies. Another one is e-commerce percentage. I managed to live where almost anything I need, I go online, order it, and it's here same day, next day. And with a little bit of management, it stays there. We now complain about spending 20 minutes to go grocery shopping and it arrived at our door. When it used to be, you had to get in a car, drive someplace, walk around the store, wait to check out, and to drive home. Even if it's a nearby grocery store, it's got to take longer than the 20 minutes we spend. The wife and I are now so used to being able to do that online that we are on our phone if we're out and about, that we don't even think about the problem. I mean, biggest problem I have is whether I'm going to meet the minimum because I'm cheap and I don't want to pay a delivery fee. So I'm on the delivery services where I pay to get free no per delivery, and they cause a minimum. Boy, and so what I did was I figured out a few things I could always add to the order that I know I'm going to need. So I really can buy anytime, and I can get it from a grocery store very close to me in less than 2 hours and delivered to my doorstep, and usually less than 1 hour. And again, I can't just order one item. I have to order some more things. I think I'm going to get a bot that's going to help me do that. However, I bring all this up to tell you that when I look at the stats of how many of you all are using those type of services, buying everything online, selling things to each other online, the amount is unbelievably low of how much of commerce is done through e-commerce platforms. Even with gigantic Amazon, their market share is hardly moving other things. If you're working in a store, you're worried about what could happen. Do what I and many others have done. Sell your stuff online. Pretty soon you'll find out that the rent and the hassle of going to that place every day can be fixed. Move your store to a warehouse. The rent's a third of the price. Again, again, my disclaimer: don't trust my numbers. Never financial information, but it's true. In the '90s, I had a store. We manufactured some product. We delivered that. We to all over the area. We had a service team that went out and did repairs, and we sold a whole lot of other goods because we were in a city. We're the only thing resembling a computer store in a city of 100,000 and a larger market around it. And got into all sorts of different things that we did. Never thought that, hey, you bought this online, I'm going to treat you any different. And with limited what we could do in growth, I have to say, back then, Amazon was not the same kind of a thing. I thought of Amazon as a friendly place I could get what I wanted, mostly books back then. And that the e-commerce was just another way to get customers. Come to find out, it wasn't the way most e-commerce was built. Amazon now is playing with stores and distributing for other people. And I wonder why, because I can get it all right brought to my house. But there are plenty of people where they don't live in a situation that's easy to get the packages and other obstacles to that. Still lots of room to expand on that idea. But most of all, if you're doing something that's a specialty and you get found online, you got so much more volume you can do. It changes things. If you're running a restaurant and like during the pandemic or just the general trend, you don't have people in the restaurant much anymore. Now you've got a staff to worry about in the restaurant and the cost of running that, lighting, rent, everything. It gets to be a burden. And I predict in the future we're going to have commercial kitchens that make very good restaurant meals, but do not have a place to go and sit down. There are laws about how many seats you have to be called a restaurant. Some of that's going to change, but get into that. Whatever your passion is, doesn't have to be you're going to be the guy using the technology. It can be whatever you're doing can be fueled by tech. So let's see. Do we have a couple more here? One more. We got to talk a bit about the industries that haven't been created yet. So many things in being able to use in outer space. Now, launches to outer space are so common that it boggles my mind to think of the number of satellites that one company has circling the Earth and all the geostationary, man, I'm not thinking of the right word, all this kind of satellites that broadcast TV and things like that that are so many places that just many signals, and they keep putting more. They figured out how to do manufacturing, for instance, pharmaceuticals, where they can do the manufacturing in space without gravity, and it works better. And then they can send us back down. And the cost per ton of moving the stuff up and down has been falling like crazy. So space, big one. 3D printing. So then there's 3D printing. Right now, we are able to produce just about anything. I went to a trade show, gosh, this is 5, 6 years ago, and I walked around looking at some of the material handling things they were doing. They were forming stuff out of metal with a 3D printer, melted in such a way that it dropped onto the next layer and made 3D printers. Do not spend much time watching a 3D printer. Go find a video and watch this. It's amazing when you start thinking about the precision that can be done. They now have pins that you can draw in space, and the ink material will come out of them and create whatever it is you're trying to draw in 3 dimensions. And that and some technology beside it can make just about anything in a 3D printer. I tend to think that replicators are a waste of time. The Star Trek device, where you need something and you tell the replicator to make it and it makes it. I think we have technology that will build it correctly and make you the real thing. We're not talking about putting together instant meals in space. We're talking about every day you need a spare part, it's there. Changes distribution, changes the opportunities to work on it and do something exciting that hasn't been thought of yet. So even when I tell you about the ones I'm thinking about, there's not as many as there are that I haven't thought of. I believe that there are things that we know that we're pretty certain we've proven with science, but nothing's ever completely certain. But there's a core amount of knowledge. And around that, the next layer is there are things that we're pretty sure work. They seem to work. We test them. We build whatever it is. It seems to follow the rules. And that's existing knowledge, those two layers. Then you get an even big layer around it that is the stuff that we're pretty sure could work, but we haven't quite figured out how to get to. I see that in the next decade or so, we're going to get really good at exploring those things and putting them into work. Out here, someplace, there's a realm of things that we're pretty sure don't work. We don't know that we're ever going to invent something to get there, but we're sure they're gone. But then I want to talk to you about the biggest space of all. It's between the things we know don't work and the things that we're pretty sure work and the things we know works. And it's the things we just don't know. We haven't thought of them. So get creative. Think about how you could make life better for your neighbors. And I've got to tell you one more story. I judged a contest of startups yesterday. I was one of the judges. And as we were doing the voting, it emerged that there were a couple of things that were fairly ordinary that we all loved and we knew was going to change the world. And then the talk went to a gaming site that was going to include gambling and slot machine kind of activity, and how they were going to tie into the existing games that you play, both in the video games and the games of chance that have money involved, and how close they are and where they're able to bridge it, the regulations involved. And they put that all in a 5-minute presentation. So I'm not talking about something I've studied in depth there, guys. But what I saw was, wow, that you're going to be able to do it. It's what we call gamification. It's taking, that's another idea for an episode. Boy, so much about gamification. Taking something you want to do, and while you're doing it, then creating something else, which it's almost like getting paid to play video games. And I think as we have technology that eliminates a lot of the drudgery from our life, we're going to start looking for ways to make everything we have to do more entertaining. And whether or not the humans are incentivized in money, incentivized in gameplay, is going to become a line that's fuzzier and fuzzier. And we'll get to the point where pretty much you can do what you want, go where you want, and invent what you want because you can think it and it can happen. It's an exciting world coming up. I hope if you're looking for work, career change, something to do, I hope these spark some interest in your thinking. And as always, I love to talk about emerging tech, but I know very little of it. If there's something you want me to explore and report on, let me know. I probably have some experience where I've run into it and I know how to get the rest of the information I need, and I'll do an episode on that. If you have questions about this or any episode, use the comments. You leaving a comment helps me. I'm not looking to get paid for this. I'm looking to get your comments, your likes, your subscribes, and definitely the sharing. Because the more we share this, the more we bring about people understand the world of abundance. And boy, I don't want to live in a world of abundance where I get abundance and other people miss out. I want abundance that's going to infect everybody. And abundance, more than anything, is you need to be able to feel abundant. If you're feeling lonely, if you feeling like this is all leaving you behind, reach out. There are people that can help. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to come to your house or get on a private call with you most of the time. Those do happen, but very little, because most of the time I'm looking at how I can reach lots of people. But there are others, and there's going to be a career of other people doing it that are going to help you. So I hope you're inspired by this. If you're not inspired, let's work on getting you inspired, because that can change everything in your life. Make a decision that you're going to be happy. Make a decision that you're going to have a future of abundance, and then let's work together to make it happen. Get rid of the friction that's in the way, and get as much as we can to all the people on Earth as fast as we can. And that's what we call the podcast Emerging Technology. And I'm Warren Whitlock. See you next time.